Alright, so welcome to a new one on this channel, and on this one we need to talk about the VCA faders. Now please remember to like and subscribe, and if you have the money and you want to buy me a coffee, you can go to the links at the description. So first, we need to understand the problem that VCA faders will solve. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Let's say that we have a kick, a snare, and a hat. So we have some drums. Right, so we have a kick, a snare, and hat, and at some point in real life, we will have different volumes right here, different positions. So what if we want to move all at once, right? We want to keep, the different volumes, but we want to go up and down at the same time for all the channels. We can click right here, we can do shift, and we can move them all at once. That is just solution number one. We can also create a group. Why not? We can just go right there, select all the different channels, and we can right click and we can go to group selected tracks. So this behind the scenes will create a group. I'm going to be calling this, I don't know, drums, something like that. And this again creates a group. Now, every time I move one, everything else is going to move. So this solves the problem. But if I move some other things, the other things are just going to be mimicking or just doing the same because they belong to the same group. Still, Studio One is really cool with groups. If I go right here to this icon and then open it and do a right click, it will ask me, what do you want to do with this group? What you will be working with? So I can simply uncheck the volume every time you just go and try to make a change. And now we can just, if I deselect everything, I can just go to a single one and move it. And then when I want to edit all at once, I can just enable this and just move all at once. And the other problem, we just can disable everything and just group the volumes for the different tracks. Now still, this is a lot of work just to solve a tiny little problem. Okay, so I'm going to dissolve the group, I'm going to remove the group, so we are not grouping anymore. Now, maybe you're thinking, okay, why not routing all of the channels to a bus and we can control it from there? Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to be selecting everything. I'm going to be doing add bus for selected channels. Then I'm going to be naming this. So this is going to be the drums channel. Now, when we change the volume of this fader, we are changing the volume of this bus, right? This channel. We are not really going down in gain or moving the faders of the channels independently. So this is just not a valid solution for this. So as we can see, we do have different ways of just, doing this, just managing the volumes just like that. Now, the thing is that, again, we need to give something away or we need to follow more steps like the grouping, or maybe we need to go there and select all the tracks first and then move a fader. We need to do an extra step. So for all of this, to solve this problem, we have the VCA faders. And believe me, once you use them, there's no going back. Okay, so let's create a VCA fader. Now, you have a couple ways. First, you can select all the tracks that you want to group under the same VCA fader, and then you right-click, and you have the option right here, Add VCA for selected channels. I'm going to click it, and now this VCA will be assigned to, or the channels will be assigned to this VCA fader. Now, if I move the VCA and go down or up, all of them are just going to follow. Now, let me just rename the VCA fader. We can do this. We're going to call it DR for, I don't know, drums. And there you go. Problem solved. You just add them to the VCA. This will just go up in volume and you don't need to mess with your bus. And if you're like me, I don't like to mess with the volume of the bus, in this case, the drum bus. I don't like to go down or way up on this one. I like to keep this one on 0 dBs as much as possible. So I can use the VCA to do the job for me without affecting this one. Now, you have a different way of doing this. I'm going to be going to this VCA fader and I'm just going to be deleting it. I'm going to remove it and I'm going to create a new VCA fader. So I'm going to click outside and it says add VCA channel. I'm going to do it and I'm going to be putting it right here. Now, again, I'm going to be calling this again DR. Now, the thing is that this VCA fader is not linked to anything. Now, at each single channel, you have an option right here, a spot. Now, if you click it right there, it will ask you, do you want to link this channel to a VCA fader? And yeah, we have the DR. And we just need to go there and just link all the different channels. All right, so that's a VCA fader. Now we have a couple more uses. Let's just pretend for a second that we have some vocals and some background vocals. So we could assume that they belong to the same group. So okay, let me just give you the example. I'm going to be creating a couple tracks. Right, so we have a vocal 1, vocal 2, and then we have background vocal 1 and background vocal 2. So again, all of them, they belong to the same group. So for now, I'm just going to be adding a bus, and all of them are going to go to the vocals. And I'm just trying to give you a real life example, right? So all of them will go to vocals. So we might have different volumes, different fader positions for all the backgrounds and the vocals. Now, what I would like to do, I would like to control the different groups and the different backgrounds. So instead of creating a VCA fader for all the different channels, for all the vocals, I just can create one for these two. I'm going to go say this one is going to be a VCA fader, right? And this one is going to be maybe the vocal. So I'm going to call it voc or whatever. And I'm going to be maybe putting it right there. And for this one, I'm going to create a new VCA fader. And this one is going to be the backgrounds, right? So within the same group, you just can manage your vocals and manage your backgrounds. But still now, we have the same problem than before. We have two faders within the same group, and they might have different volumes. What if I want to just go and just move all at once, right? So you can assign a VCA fader to other VCA faders. So when I select this, I'm going to be doing a right click, and I'm going to say add VCA for selected channels, and this one is going to be controlling this two, and then this two will control everything else. So yeah, you can do that. Now you can write automation for this VCA fader just like you would with anything else. So I'm going to be standing right here, going to be doing a right click, and we need to do edit automation, and there we go. It's going to create an automation lane so we can create our automation. So I'm just going to be doing something dumb. Going to be adding some points right there. I'm going to go down because I want to show you a very specific example. That's why, I'm going really aggressive. So if I play it back, we're going to see the fader doing its job and the automation doing its job, right? Pretty obvious. Now, but there is a tiny little thing that we have available when we do this. If you go to the track, the automation lane, and you do something like this, you do a right click, and you have an option that says merge VCA automation. So this, what it does is going to take whatever automation you did right here and just, make it real for each independent channel that belongs to the same group. And I'm just going to show you. I'm going to do a right click. I'm going to go to merge VCA automation, and notice that this automation is gone. But now if I go to automation and expand the different channels that we get from automation, we can see that for the volume, it's right there, right? Let me just go down. So yeah, you can see that we have the same automation we did with the VCA fader, but now the automation belongs to each different channel that, was inside the same group, right? So, it's a tiny little thing because now you have the automation, and maybe this one you decide that you don't want it right here. So now you can do it independently instead of doing it globally with the VCA fader. Okay, so VCA faders, just a very cool thing. Now, it depends on how you want to use it, or, if you might never use it in your life. Now, the thing is that I promise you, if you start using them, right, you will want to use them all the time. Right, so hopefully you liked all of this and you learned something new. Remember to like and subscribe, and if you have the money and you want to buy me a coffee, you can afford it. You can go to the links at the description. You have links for PayPal, you have YouTube thanks, and you have Patreon. Maybe you can be a 1-month patron and buy me a coffee that way. So see you on the next one.